What is enterprise service management and how can you leverage it within your own company? Now, enterprise service management is really just a place where literally anyone in your team, in your company, any employee can go to and find context, information, help, or submit something that they need help with. So you could think of, for example, someone needs access to a piece of software. They could go to this portal to submit it. That's IT. Someone has a question about their paycheck. That might be accounting or finance. Someone needs a desk. That might be facilities. Someone needs to request some days off. That might be HR. All of these can be done within one singular place, one singular portal, and literally any question that anyone has in the whole entire organization can be answered in this one single place. Now, the enterprise can be a little bit deceiving here because it is enterprise service management, but I've actually seen a lot of teams use ESM portals for much smaller organizations, even within like 50 to 100 employee counts. And it does make probably a much bigger impact in larger organizations, but companies of 50, 100, 300 employees can absolutely leverage ESM to make their lives way easier, to help answer context information for their employees. And frankly, it's actually a lot easier to set up with a smaller team and be able to grow into it over time than to kind of wait till way later and then trying to implement it for a company of 1,000 plus. So here's an example of what a good ESM portal looks like. And I'm going to cover the 3 things that every single ESM portal has to have, no questions asked. And then 3 things that they can have or that are nice to haves, but are really, really nice quality of life improvements. So this is our portal. The primary thing that we want to see here and have is a unified searchable catalog. And unified searchable catalog, all that means is I could go in here and ask a question, search for a question and get an answer, or submit a question, request type, whatever it is, service request to the back end where the proper team could help answer whatever question I may have. So at the very top, we have a search bar. And the really nice thing about the search bar is I could literally type in whatever keyword, let's say VPN, and I'm going to get all the relevant information I need about this keyword. Now, VPN is very IT focused. So let's switch gears and talk about like a 401k, which is a HR thing, which is not IT focused at all. And now I get context on 401k items. Now, the really cool thing here is that I have one portal. I don't have to go Slack a separate team. I don't have to know who is part of what team. I don't have separate portals I need to navigate to. It's in one singular place where I can get my questions answered about literally anything that happens within the organization. So that's number 1. We need a unified searchable service catalog. Number 2 is going to be a self-service knowledge base. This is very, very critical. The reason this is critical is because you don't want every single general question coming in about everything that you do in your organization and have someone manually answer it. You want to have a lot of that context documented and surfaced to the end users. VPN is a good example of that. So I could type in VPN, and instead of submitting this and having a real human respond to it, there might be a resource or a doc or training, whatever it is, that actually can help me to answer my question without talking to anyone specifically, which is awesome because I can get my own question resolved and it's faster for me, and it also doesn't take up someone else's time. So having that context and documentation is going to save a lot of time for your company. And the easiest way to do that is by literally just embedding a Confluence doc within Jira. And there you go. You have all the context you need, steps, information on your portal directly that ideally people look at first before submitting a request. And if this doesn't answer their problem, there's still an option to raise a request, and that could be sort of the next step. But ideally, we defer that and answer the question without any kind of needing of a request being raised. So that's number 2. Number 1 was unified searchable catalog. Number 2 is self-help knowledge base. And number 3, this is probably the most important thing, it needs to have an employee-centric experience. Real quick, I've implemented Jira for over 200 companies. By far, the number 1 reason teams reach out to us is because they built what they thought was a great solution, only to realize that nobody actually ended up using it. And if that sounds familiar, that's exactly what we help you fix. We're currently taking on new projects 4 to 6 weeks out. And if you want help implementing Jira in a way that your team will actually use, hit the first link in the description below. Now, what does that mean? That literally just means make it easy to use. And there's kind of 2 things that this buckets into. Number one is make it easy to navigate. I really like the search bar at the top, and I'll show you one really cool key feature that Jira has that makes this even better. And number two is simple terminology. I talked about this in my IT implementation of the portal, which is kind of a subsection of ESM. But the goal here is use a 6th grade reading level. That way, everything that is found on this portal is super easy to understand, super easy to digest, and get context on. It's not going to be complex. It's not going to be overly creative or clever. Clear is kind of the best way to go, and make it super simple and easy to read. Whatever documentation you're using, whatever request types you're using, make it dead simple, easy to understand. Now, back to point one, where we make it easy to navigate. There is Rovo AI within ESM, and we could enable this just by going to our, the virtual agent on the top right, and you could enable this from this page. So in the settings, there's a little toggle this on, and this is really, really cool because I can now go in here and say, I need help setting up my VPN. And now, instead of me going through trying to find the relevant document, piece of information that I need to find, the resource, because there might be several, as you could see here, all I have to do is click enter, and boom, immediately this asks my virtual agent the question, and the virtual agent will scan everything that I have in terms of my context, and then give me exactly specific information that I need to help resolve my problem. So this one said, can't give you specific instructions. Let's say I have a problem connecting to my VPN. And of course, you need the documentation on the back end to actually support this. This question should be answered. There we go. So here's some connection attempt rejected, things that I can try: unauthorized login, driver error, and a few other things. And I could drill into the sources that this is actually pulling from, which is from Confluence. And then it's asking me, did I resolve this, yes or no? I could say yes or no. If I say no, it'll actually keep going and try to help me more. And I could say, okay, at this point, I just want to submit a request to IT. And I could kind of keep chatting with it as pretty much a regular human, which is really good. Let me see if I can get it to... Typically, it should actually let you submit to an IT support portal, and it'll do that on your behalf. Looks like there might be an outage on the back end right now, but it's going to keep going, try to answer questions for you based on your documentation. And then at some point, it's going to say, hey, if we still can't figure this out, I'm going to go ahead and submit this to IT on your behalf. So it makes the experience way, way easier. And what I could do as an end user is literally just type my problems, describe them. AI could tell me, here's the best resources I have, the best things you can try to resolve this. If you cannot resolve this, here, let's go ahead and submit this to the proper team to get it to triage to HR, IT, finance, whatever it is, to help them resolve the actual problem. So those are the three big things. Number one is a unified searchable service catalog, self-knowledge or self-help articles, and then an employee-centric experience. Now, there's three things that are not required, but are super duper nice to have. The first one is a product catalog. A product catalog is a little bit different, and it actually lets you select specific products that are available on the back end that were pre-created for selection. And we could use an example of laptops. So if I'm requesting a laptop, I could request a new notebook. This request type was made specifically for that. And what I could do here is actually search through specific supported models. And these are models that were curated on the back end that say, hey, we have these in stock, we have these available, pick these options and you can request them. Same thing with accessories. We could jump in here and say, cool, I want a magic keyboard, magic mouse, whatever else it is that I may want to request. And then we go ahead and submit this. This can literally be done with anything. You can have an assets database with locations, desks, accessories, hardware, software, literally anything. If there is a request being made for it, you can list it as an option and have end users select specific things that they are requesting. This keeps kind of the ambiguity out of it, where you're requesting a specific thing that they may need with, for example, a laptop, rather than them just saying, hey, I need a laptop, doesn't matter which one, or like I want this specific one, but you don't support it. You give them very specific options that they can select from. And even when it comes to software, they might say, hey, I need access to Adobe, but they didn't specify the level of access that they need or the products that they need. So you can actually go through and request that specific information with a product catalog like this. So that's number one with kind of the nice to haves. Number two is workflows and approval automation. Now this is more on the back end. And what's really nice about these is that it actually allows you to work a little bit quicker. So you don't need to go through and triage everything completely manually. Now, if I could pull up one of my queue items, let me see if there's anything in this section. My queue is empty for some reason. But if I go to create a new request, requests can be created and then they could be sent for approval before they can be actioned on. So the nice thing about this is that, number one, we can make sure that only the things that were approved can be delivered. And number two, it saves the time from the communication, kind of the back and forth via Slack, via email. I can do that either all within the JSM product, or more specifically, you can actually go through and send it for approval within a workflow. These workflows are typically like service requests with approvals, and you could build them in. It sends an email to the person who needs to approve, or even a group of approvers, and immediately you can have approvals done and have those approvals flowing through your workflows on the back end. So this is more of a time saver for the agents, but really, really great for things that are maybe high cost or very sensitive information that needs some kind of approval level. Number three is the Slack or Teams integration. And the portal is great. Portal is awesome, right? Portal gives you a lot of great options. The problem is it's a little bit harder to find. All of us live in either Slack or Teams, and we're in there 24/7. So having the direct integration with Slack or Teams is absolutely killer. And this is not a must-have, but it is a very nice to have that'll probably increase the adoption used of the portal. And there's a lot of integrations available that let you port in and kind of sync things over and request things via Slack and Teams, which make, this kind of quality of life improvements. So whenever you can, pull in those integrations, use Slack. Slack is a little bit better with Jira, the way that they've set it up, but Teams does still work. It definitely pull in those chats, those bots, those agents into your tool of choice, whatever you are using. So those are the three must-haves and the three nice-to-haves. Now, if you're questioning and you're not sure if ESM is right for you, if you want to set this up, but you just do not know where to start, we do this all the time. We work with hundreds of companies and clients to set up ESM for them. And really the goal here is maximum adoption and being able to resolve and defer as many things as possible. That way, less people have to be involved with actually manually answering questions, because you don't need someone to answer a simple process or a simple question about the company or PTO time. That should be documented. That should be well received by the team and easily found by anyone. So the two big things that we focus on are adoption and being able to defer requests and not send them to an agent. And if you're wanting to set up ESM, feel free to send me a DM or check the link in the description, book a call with me and my team, and we would love to help you out.